What's up, y'all? Do you want the fullness of God manifested in your life? And I mean all that God is. Do you want it manifested in your life? Do you want your life to look like the fullness of God? All that He is: love, power, patience, obedience, strength, all of that. Knowledge, wisdom. Let's read about it. We are in Ephesians, the book of Ephesians. We're going to go chapter 3, verses 19. Okay. And to know the love of Christ, which passeth knowledge, that ye might be filled with all the fullness of God. Okay. A lot of times these verses sound like some big mystery, but if you really break it down, it's really not. So how do you get the fullness of God in your life? To know, this is how you get it. You have to know the love of Christ. It's saying if you know the love of Christ and really know it, one, that love passes knowledge, meaning that the love is something that really is so deep you can't fully comprehend it, but also meaning that that love is as important as knowledge. So even if you don't know, the entire whatever of the Bible and who wrote what and when did they write it and what type of tree the cross came from. Even if you don't know that, even if you can't tell me what 1 John 3:16 says and you don't know where to find the verse about this or that and you can't quote Revelations off the back of your head, like if you don't know none of that, but you know the love of God, you know God loves you. You know how to show the love of God. You know how to dwell on the love of God. You know how to speak the love of God. You know how to show the love of God. He says that is enough for you to have the fullness of God in your life. How do you know the love of God? You let God show you. You ask God, Lord, how do you love me? Show me your love. How do you love like Christ? You ask God, Lord, how can I love like you? Literally, it says in the Bible, in another verse, you have not because you ask not. That's simple. If you don't have something, maybe you just don't have it because you didn't ask for it. If you say, man, it's that simple, and that sounds amazing. I want to know this love of Christ. How do I know it? Ask for it. But remember what I told in the other video, ask for it, but you got to believe that you're going to get it. There's no point asking God for something if you don't believe, because it's not in the asking, it's in the belief that He's going to answer and give it. Okay? So let's go to the next verse. We understood so far, if you want the fullness of God, you need to know the love of Christ. And then it goes into verse 20. Now unto Him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us. So he goes from talking about, if you want the fullness of God, know His love. And then it goes straight into, now unto Him that is able to do exceedingly and abundantly past what you ask. And remember what I said, how do you get to know the love of God? One, you ask God to show you the love of God. Then it goes right into unto Him that is able. So what he's saying is, on your search for the love of God, you need to realize that you are searching and praying and seeking Him that is able to do exceedingly and abundantly past all that you ask or think. And what that says is, on your search for the fullness of God, on your quest for the love of God, God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly past even what you're searching for, even what you expect, even what you think. Meaning, think of the best version of you just walking in the fullness of God and you knowing the love of God and you showing the love of God to your family and you have the love of God in your relationships and you speak the love of God even on your job. You are there as the love of God on that job. Think of it all, the best version, and you are walking in the fullness of God. Everything that you touch is blessed. Everything that you curse is cursed. Everything that you say happens, and you're praying down fire and pulling down strongholds. Just think of the best that your life can get, the closest that you can get with God, the closest that you can even ask for. Lord, walk with me. Let me see you face to face. Let me hear your voice in a clear version. He says all of that, the closest, the best, the most magnificent thing that you can imagine and think of and ask for. God is able to do past that. He said past whatever you can even think. If you, meaning, and there's another verse in the Bible that says his thoughts are above our thoughts, his ways are above our ways. So that says the thing that you can think of and comprehend enough that you thought it in your head and then asked for it, God says, I'm able to do so much past because my ways are above your ways and my thoughts are above your thoughts, which means that the greatest thing that you can think of, I can do past that, meaning that you can't even fathom what God is capable of doing. If that is not a God that you need more of, that you need to know, I don't know what type of God you need to know then. I'm saying he's telling you, come into my fullness. He's telling you, my love is there for you to know it. You're able to know it. He's telling you this. He's setting you up to come expecting. And then he tells you, and I can do past what you expect. Now, when you apply that to your life, how then are you going on to that job interview anything less than victorious? How then are you approaching raising that child anything less than exceedingly and abundantly? How then do you expect your marriage to be anything less than exceedingly and abundantly? How then do you expect your finances to be anything less than exceedingly and abundantly? How then do you expect your ministry to be anything less than exceedingly and abundantly? How then do you expect your home life, your downtime, your vacation, your family bond, your hobbies, your likes, your interests, your influence, your relationships, your giving, your receiving, your conversation to be anything less than exceedingly and abundantly? Exceedingly, meaning past the finish. Whatever you can think of, I can do past that. Meaning, if this is how much you can think of, I can do exceedingly, meaning I can do past that. So, Lord, if I believe you have the power to make me a millionaire, if I got the faith that you can make me a millionaire, you can do exceedingly past that. You can make me a billionaire. But here's the catch to all of that last part. So that means he's able. He wants you to know, I'm able. I'm able to do past. But what I do is according to the power that worketh in us. In other words, he wants you to know, I'm able. It's not that I don't got the money. It's not that I don't got the connections. It's not that I don't got the power. It's not that I don't got them relationships for you. It's not that I don't got the blessings. It's not that I don't got the house. It's not that I don't got a plan for your life, a plan for your wife's life, a plan for your husband's life, a plan for your kid's life. It's not that I can't do nothing with that pain. It's not that I can't do nothing with that misery. It's not that I can't forgive you. It's not that I can't love you. It's not that I can't show you. It's not that I can't bless you. It's not that I can't give you. It's not that I can't use you. I'm able. But it's that I'm able according to the power that worketh in you. Meaning, God gave us free will. He is not going to bless you past what you expect. But He's able, if you expect, to do past your expectations. You understand what I'm saying? So if you expect nothing, God can't do nothing. But if you expect something, God can do past that something. And what that means is you need to raise your expectations. If you do not see the love of God, if you do not walk in the fullness of God, maybe it's because you have not expected it. If you're not seeing signs and wonders, maybe it's because you don't expect to see signs and wonders. If you don't see God working in your family, maybe it's because you don't expect to see God working in your family. If you don't see God on your job, maybe it's because you don't expect to see God on your job. If you don't see yourself in ministry, maybe it's because you don't expect to see yourself in ministry. If you don't see anything changing, maybe it's because you don't expect to see anything changing. But if you do expect, God says, I can do past them expectations. But you gotta bring me something. You can't bring me nothing and expect me to do something. But if you bring me something, I'm gonna do past that something. Right now, you should be writing down and thinking about in your head what you want. And I'm not saying what you want in terms of money and like all that. No. It got to still be according to the Spirit and according to God's will for you. But you need to start asking, because God's will for you is the best thing that you can ask for. To live outside of God's will, whether you think you want that or not, God knows best. If He gave you something outside of His will, you'd be miserable. Yes. Miserable with $1 million. Yes. Miserable with a model wife. Yes. Miserable with that dope boy husband. Yes. You'd be miserable. Yes. Believe it or not. Yes. So you need to lay before God and say, God, what should I expect from you? And then be ready to expect it. And then don't be surprised when God does past those expectations, because He says you can't even fathom, you can't even get it in your head. Even if He told you, you couldn't get it in your head as big, as exceedingly and as abundantly as He can do. But you need to get something in your head so that He can do past it. Maybe you have nothing because you don't ask for nothing. Maybe you don't receive nothing because you don't expect to receive anything. This is just how life is. It's how it's always going to be. It is what it is. And it's going to stay what it is because you keep saying it is what it is. But you need to start saying, you know what? This is what it looks like, but this is not what it is. This is not what I expect. This is not what I accept. Lord, you said you were going to do exceedingly and abundantly. When I look at this paycheck, I do not see exceedingly and abundantly. So this cannot be the end. This cannot be something that I accept as the final verdict. This is just what it is. No, it's not what it is. Expect more. Expect to get more. Keep expecting things to be how they always were, and don't be surprised that they stay how they always were. According That's why you see how he did all of that big and all of that big setup. I am able. He says it. I'm able. But I'm able according. The able is him. The according is you. He's able to do according to what you believe, what you think, what you ask. And you can tell what you believe by what you say. One, to God, and yes, even to others. When you talk in defeat, you live defeated. Because what comes out of your mouth comes from your heart. If you walk around like your cup is half empty, you probably have a half empty faith with a half empty outlook. And we all know people like that. We know people who have that half empty mindset. And I'm telling you, you want your cup to overflow? You need to start seeing your cup half full. And then expect exceedingly and abundantly.